Hey, what is up guys? MLT Magic Tricks here. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you this amazing no setup card trick that is perfect to perform really all the time. If there's a deck of cards lying around somewhere and you want to impress somebody with a card trick, this is a great one to do. Now, before we get into this performance, if you are new here to my channel, make sure you subscribe with those post notifications on for more card and magic trick performance and tutorial videos like this one. If you enjoy this video, make sure you leave it a thumbs up and also leave in the comment section below what type of card tricks you want to see me teach on the channel in the future, and I will definitely listen to your guys' suggestions. But anyways, let's get straight into this performance. Okay, so I would start off this trick by having my spectator just shuffle up the cards as much as they want to, and once my spectator's done shuffling, I would ask for the deck back and just have them choose a selection. So let's say my spectator selects this card right here, and for this trick, I can look at the card. So in this case, we have the Ace of Hearts. That is going to be my spectator selection. So I'm going to take my spectator's card, the Ace of Hearts. I'm going to place it here on the bottom of the deck. And now at this point, I would give the pack over to my spectator and then tell them a series of instructions that they are going to do with the deck. I would tell them to first cut about a quarter of the cards and then just turn those over face down. So they could cut about a quarter of the deck like this, turn all of these cards over. Next, I would tell them to do the same thing, but with about half of the deck this time. So they could just cut right here about half of the cards, turn all of those over. And then one last time, I would tell them to cut about 3/4 of the deck and then turn all of those cards over. So right here is about 3/4. They could just turn all of these cards over. Now, guys, at this point, we have a pretty messed up deck. I would ask for the cards back and just show my spectator. We have some face down into face up cards. We have some face up into face down cards. It is pretty apparent that the entire deck that we have here is, really disorganized. So what I'm going to do here is give the deck a riffle shuffle. I'm just going to split the deck into two halves here, and I'm going to take this half of cards and I'm going to take this half, and I'm just going to shuffle them together to really once and for all mix up our order of cards that we have in this deck. So I'm going to go ahead and push these two halves together, a bunch of face up cards into face down, just like that, and I will even give the deck one last cut. So at this point, we've together have completely mixed up this deck. We have, a bunch of face up cards into face down. Now, what I'm going to do is snap my fingers, wave my hand over the entire deck. Now, I'm going to spread out the cards face up, and you guys will see that the entire deck somehow rearranges itself, except one card that's face down in the middle. And I'm going to prove to you that this card that's face down right here in the middle is not just any card. It should be your selection, the Ace of Hearts. So guys, that is the trick. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you want to learn how to perform this amazing no setup card trick, make sure to stick around for the tutorial. Okay, so I hope you guys liked that trick, and now let's get right into the tutorial. So this card trick is great for really any level magician to perform. It's not too difficult sleight of hand wise, and this one is perfect to perform anywhere, anytime, because all you need is a deck of cards. There's no setup. You can even use a borrowed deck for this trick. So you're going to start off by having your spectator shuffle up the deck as much as they want to until they are satisfied. So once your spectator is done shuffling, you are going to ask for the cards back. And what you can do casually to start, I would recommend you give the deck a little bevel, just like that. I'll explain why later in the tutorial. It makes a move later in the trick just a little bit easier. So give the deck a little bevel like this, nothing too significant. Just casually do it like that, and you're ready to move on. So once you have beveled your deck just a little bit, you're going to have your spectator choose a card. This is a completely free selection, which is really great. So your spectator chooses any card they want to, and you are going to want to take a look at the card for this trick because you're going to end up placing the card on the bottom. I mean, technically you don't have to look at it. You can just place it on the bottom like this and then explain the instructions to your spectator later, but I do recommend taking a look at it. It just makes things a little bit easier. So in this case, we have the Queen of Clubs as my spectator selection. You're going to place that on the bottom of the deck, and at this point, you're going to give the deck to your spectator. And I only recommend doing this if your spectator is semi-decent with a deck of cards. What I mean by that is if you're performing this to like some little kids, maybe a little sibling or something like that, where they may have some issues cutting the cards themselves, I would recommend you do this part. But if you are performing to someone who's older, someone who could definitely handle a deck, I would recommend handing it over to your spectator. So either way, you're going to tell them to cut about a quarter of the deck from the bottom. So you're just going to tell them to riffle down about a quarter of the cards. Right here is just fine. You're going to tell them to turn all of these over. So once your spectator has decided to stop riffling down, you're going to tell them, okay, just turn over all the cards like that. Now, Next, what you're going to tell them is to cut about half of the cards this time, and it's very important that they go past the amount of cards that they turned over in the first place. So they need to riffle down past all these face down cards. So, you know, if you tell them to do a quarter and then now a half, you shouldn't run into any issues. They should, you know, cut more than a quarter, so they'll go right about half. We'll turn all these cards over, and then lastly, just tell them to go near the bottom of the deck, cut almost towards the bottom, or about 3/4. Your spectator will go past all of these cards, which they need to. They need to go past all of those just like that. And then, you know, once they get near the bottom here, just tell them, okay, that's fine. Go ahead and turn over all of these cards. Now, I'm just going to show you guys what this does to the deck. Your spectator thinks it completely messes up the deck, but in reality, you have half face-up cards and then roughly half face-down cards once you do that. It really does not mess up the deck. Your spectator thinks it does, but in reality, it does not. And now at this point, once you are done doing those steps, you're going to ask for the deck back. And what you can do here is just kind of go towards the bottom of the deck, show your spectator that we have face down into face up, cut near the top, show them you have face up into face down. And now lastly, what you need to do is locate the natural break that's going to be created in the deck right about here. You will easily see this break because of what you did at the start of the trick by beveling the deck. So when you bevel the deck at the start, it makes it easier to find this natural break in the cards at this point in the trick. So once you locate the natural break, you're going to kind of lift up like this. Make sure you don't turn these cards over per se, because your spectator will see their selection here and they may get suspicious. So just kind of like casually find it to yourself. And if you don't accidentally find the natural break, what you can do is kind of spread through the cards to yourself like this as you're talking to your spectator and find where the cards turn face up, the two face up cards or two face up packs meet. So at this point, the card right here that's face up to this random card is going to be their selection. So what you need to do once you lift up, all you're going to do is just drop their card on top of that packet. So you can kind of do that under the cover like this. You find your natural break, you lift up, and then all you need to do is drop their selection on top of this packet, just like that. Make sure it's only one card there. So their card is on top of this packet, and you're going to split the deck like this. You're going to say, okay, now I'm going to shuffle two halves of the decks into each other. You're going to take this packet that does not have their selection. You're going to turn these cards face up. You're going to take the remainder of the cards and just get ready to do a riffle shuffle. Now, you need to do kind of a riffle shuffle under cover like this. You can kind of to cover the cards because this is what you have. You have face up, and the only face down card is their selection at the top of this packet. Obviously, your spectator thinks the deck is completely messed up. Don't spread out the cards like this at this point. I'm just showing you guys what you have here. So you're going to do a riffle shuffle kind of undercover, because if you do a normal one, you will kind of flash that all the cards are face up, and you do not want that. So kind of come close like this, do your riffle shuffle, so your spectator can't really see what's going on. They're just thinking you're shuffling the cards, and all you need to do is finish with their selection on top. Push the packs together, and you can kind of be careful as you're doing your little bridge, or you don't even have to do a bridge. You can just shove them together like this. Try not to flash too many of those face-up cards. Now, here's what you have. You have all the cards face up now, their selection face down at the top. Last move you need to do is cut like that into the middle, and you're ready to do the reveal. Snap your fingers, wave your hand over the deck, do whatever you want to. Go ahead, spread out the cards face up, and show them that all of the entire deck has rearranged itself. All the cards are now face up except the one face down card in the middle. You can have your spectator turn it over. They will see the one face down card as their selection, and they will be completely confused. So guys, that is the trick. I hope you enjoyed this one. Definitely give this one a try. It will completely confuse all of your spectators. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace out.